Setout. In this chapter we will look at various types of setout calculations, from features constructed in the graphics to imported strings and tins. Setout files are created for each topic. So we're going to start using a building setout example. So I'll just open up 12D version 14, select new, we navigate to the survey folder and then setout and click select folder. We're going to type in a project name, house setout, and select new. We will close down the setup project details panel and the recalc panel and maximize plan view 1. So in this exercise we're going to firstly create the outline of the lot and then create the building. Before we create the outline we need to set up the default information in the CAD control bar. So we're just going to type in lot for the name, lot for the model name, change the color to red, and just ensure the line style is 1 and that there are no symbols. We're going to use the option from the CAD line toolbar, which is traverse. For our start point we can press on the space bar and we can type in a start coordinate. So we'll just type in 1000 space 5000. So the separator is the space bar. Press enter. If you zoom out you'll see then that it's locked to that position. So we type in a bearing. So down the bottom of the screen it's prompting for a bearing. So we can either press the space bar or simply start typing. So we'll just press the space bar and type in 12.1810. So that is 12 degrees 18 minutes 10 seconds. Press enter and you'll see that the cursor now is heading up in that direction. So again we can press the space bar and type in the distance 35.818 and press enter. So now we've got our first line. Okay, we can continue typing in the dimensions of the lot. So instead of pressing spacebar this time we're just going to simply type in 90, and as soon as you pressed a key the box comes up. So 90, enter, and the distance will be 23.87, enter. We then type in 192.1810, enter, and a distance of 35.818, enter. Okay, we don't actually put in the closing dimension. If we just press escape we can now check the bearing and distance back to the start. To do this we can use the measure edits icon, and the second one in says measure bearing and distance, and we pick and accept on our last point and pick and accept on the first point, and you should have 270 degrees for 23.87. Okay, we'll finish that panel. We can now close that string. So from the CAD string toolbar we select close and pick and accept anywhere on the string. We're now going to create the building outline. So again we need to change our CAD control bar settings. So we will type in house for the name, house for the model, and we'll change the color. So I'll just change it to say cyan. Again we use the traverse option. Now this time we're going to be starting at a point 7 meters up the front boundary and 1.8 meters offset. Now here we don't actually have to start from there, we can start directly from that point using the powerful snaps. So once we're in the option, it's down the bottom of the screen, it's saying pick start position for traverse. So we use the snaps CAD point toolbar, and if we go down to the icon that says snaps offset and release, we then pick the line that we want to measure from and accept. We then pick the corner that's going to be our reference point for the distance and offset, The distance along the line will be 7, enter, and the offset, because it's going to the right, it will be positive 1.8, enter. Okay, so it's basically now ready to go from there. It has also, if you went to your plus button, it's created a point in the model construction snap starter, which is off by default, but if you needed to recall that position later, you could just turn that model on. Okay, right, so we're going to start running parallel with that side. So with this, we could either type in our 12 degrees 1810 again, or if we press T for tangential, and then we click on the left boundary and accept, you'll see that it's locked the bearing into being tangential to the side boundary. So here we only have to type in the dimension, the distance 15.4, enter. Now we're going to go at right angles, so again we don't need to type it in, we can simply press the space bar, which will bring up the previous bearing, and if we press page up, it will automatically add 90 degrees to that bearing, and press enter. We'll now type in 11.1, enter. So we're going to proceed around the house using the page up, page down to swing the bearing by plus or minus 90 degrees each time, and simply typing in the dimensions. Okay, so we press spacebar, page up again, so it's now proceeding at 192 degrees 1810. The distance will be 3, enter. Spacebar, now this time we're going back around to the left, so we need to go page down, enter, and we're putting in the dimensions 6, enter. Spacebar, page up, enter. We put in the dimension 5, enter. Spacebar, page up again, enter. Put in the dimension of 8.2, enter. And spacebar, this time page down, enter. And 7.6, enter. Okay, as per the previous example, we don't sort of close off the last line, so we'll press escape and escape again to get out of the option. We will then measure the bearing and distance back to the start, pick, accept, pick, accept. Now here you'll see that the actual bearing is incorrect, so we do have a problem. Right, so we need to work out which line's wrong and fix it. So in 12D we simply select our CAD, and this time we go Travis Edit, and we can pick on a line, pick, accept, and it will give us the information, the bearing and the distance. So the last line is the one that's the problem, so you can see 192 1810, yep, that's correct, enter. But the dimension should have been 7.4, so we simply change it and press enter. Now that's adjusted that line. If, for example, our second line we put in was wrong, we could have adjusted that and everything would have been shifted back, so you don't have to recreate the whole string again. Okay, let's just check our bearing and distance again. That's better, 282 1810 for 8.9. Select finish, and again we're going to close the string. Now we need to perform some checks just to make sure that it is actually on the correct offsets from the boundary as per our architectural plan we may have received. So to do this, firstly we need to change our snaps, our segment snap. So if you turn on the segment snap, and then we're going to go to an option which will give us the offset from a string to a point. So if we click on this option, now we pick on the left boundary and accept, and if we pick on the front corner, and you don't need to accept, then in the panel up on the right you'll see that the value is 1.8. We can simply now slide along the screen and left click on the back corner, again it's 1.8. Now we'll just click measure again, so we may do from the back. So here we're going to the back corner and you'll see that it's slid the line across, and we pick on the back corner, measure again, we'll pick on the other side, just click once, check the offset there, and measure, and we can pick the front corner, the front line, and we can pick on that point. Okay, so once we're happy that these offsets match our design offsets, we can continue. We can also dimension these offsets. So to do this, we're going to firstly go up to our plan properties icon, and we're going to set our plot scale under settings, our plot scale to 250. This ensures that the text will be at the right height if we were to plot this out. We then change our model name in our CAD control bar to text dimension. We change the color to white, and we then go over to the CAD dimension toolbar, and we go out to the option which says drop segment dimension. So we then go down to our start point and accept, and then pick out on the line. So we can just continue going from point to line, point to line, point to line. Okay, you can press escape. We'll now look at dimensioning the lot and the house. So to do this, we use the option CAD, drafting, bearing distance labeling 2. We have a parameter file. We'll set up our font information. So we select the folder icon, browse, and let's go back up to Setout and select training.lbf and select read. So what this does is this sets up the information for the bearing and the distance. Okay, we're going to start off by labeling the lot model. So we select the model icon and select lot and select process. Just turn on the two models that we're interested in, TXT bearing and TXT distance. We'll also label the house, but we'll only do the distances. So let's go and turn off the model for bearings. We now pick our house and select process. These pieces of text can be moved around using standard text editing options. Select finish now. We're now going to create setout points for the house and the boundary. So we'll turn off all the models except for house and lot, and we select the option utilities, superstrings, point ID. For the source, we change it to view and we select view 1, and we can simply select run. If we now go to our toggle button and down the bottom we select point IDs, you'll see the point IDs have been created in the order that we constructed the line work. And we can finish this panel, and now the points and or lines are ready to upload. So if we wanted to upload it to say Leica Instruments, we could select Survey, Leica 1200 strings. We give it a name. We tick on the checkboxes to ensure that the point IDs here are the ones that appear in the instrument. We select view 1 and select write. So here now the points, the lines, and with point numbers at the vertices are exported to DBX and XML files that can be loaded into Leica Instruments. Okay, before we go on to the next topic, what we're going to do is to finish this panel, and we're actually going to share the lot outline with the next project. So we select Models, Utilities, Sharing, Share. We pick the model lot and select Set, Finish. If you go to your minus button now, you'll notice that that model has a different color, indicating that it's been shared by another project.